Good evening, everyone. Let us start our class. Yesterday, because of electricity issue, could not go live. So, let us start with the points what we have covered so far. We were able to start and cover some two of the aphorisms related to the knowledge of power of medicines. So, we discussed that how there is only one way to know about the power of medicines, that is only by testing them on human beings. And moreover, this testing has to be on healthy human beings. It is all very important to be tested on healthy human beings. And while testing, you come to know what are the changes it can produce in the health of the individual. Then only you will come to know exactly what peculiar alterations each of the medicines can do, because those peculiar alterations of the medicines are such when we match them with natural disease in a given individual and given on the basis of law of similia, it will cure it. So, very simply to understand that the disease producing power of each medicine is nothing but their curative power also. So far we learned and we understood that each of the medicines has got somewhere deep in the interior some spirit-like power. That power is only known when you test it on healthy humans. Before Henman tested Thuja, no one knew that this tree, which beautifies the gardens, could be such a salutary medicine, and it is going to cover up a huge number of diseases of the mankind. And if you really read the introduction of the Thuja by Dr. Haniman in Mathematica Pura, you will come to know that how he arrived at the proving of the Thuja, and that too for the purpose of psychosis. Psychosis means that psychosis, miasm, primary as well as latent and tertiary, or you can say secondary stage. Hence, it became finally a king of antipsychotic medicines. It's a small story that one patient who used to be father in the church, he came to Hanman with the symptoms of like gonorrhea, and on so much of inquiry, there was no such polluted contact in the history of that priest. Then definitely something is there which caused this. And in a very, very minute scrutiny, Dr. Henman came to know that while this priest going into his church and coming back from the church, there is a lawn, and in the lawn, quite big, these thuja trees are there, tree of life. So what he was doing while going and coming through that passage, just by chance he used to pull those leaves of the thuja plant and used to put in the mouth and chew it and throw it. That was his practice. And you can understand, it became an accidental proving. This is the first accidental proving of thuja, that too giving out the symptoms of something like gonorrhea. It is not gonorrhea. Our medicines are not producing typhoid. Our medicines are producing typhoid-like symptoms. Our medicines are not producing gonorrhea. They are producing gonorrhea-like symptoms. So what Thuja did, Thuja produced gonorrhea-like symptoms in that case. And since they were such very, very important symptoms like gonorrhea, Hahnemann proved it and did such a service for the mankind that we, so many of us homeopathic doctors, they use this medicine and relieve many, many very bad cases of tumors and this and that, not simply warts. It cures the many kind of mental diseases. It cures many kinds of tumors. It cures whatnot. Such a wonderful medicine this Thuja is. So this is how there are many, many such stories about each of the drugs, and it is all fascinating that the way shown by Master Hahnemann regarding the proving of the drugs, regarding the testing of the drugs on the healthy human beings, it has really shown a way that you may be passing through a tunnel, but then out there is a bright, sunny light where you make so many of the suffering human beings and show them the light of health. And they really salute homeopathy like anything. It is only possible if we are able to learn this very aspect of drug proving. So going to Aphorism 21, a little bit longer aphorism, and but I wish all of you that instead of reading this from the top, we will start otherwise. We will be starting it below, from the below, and then we'll go up to learn this aphorism. So let us go in the last. We will be starting with the second last line that starts with "in order to learn." I hope you got it. In order to learn what disease producing power, and at the same time what disease curing power each individual medicine possesses. So the purpose is that we are to learn. See, I tell you this aphorism 21, in respect of knowing the conceptual part of the drug proving, drug testing, drug testing on the human beings. It is the aphorism 21 is like the similar aphorism as aphorism number 6. Aphorism number 6 is one of the part of the blueprint of case taking, that is regarding understanding the patient. How a physician immediately shun his all knowledge of physician and be only a very, very sharp but without any prejudice an observer. Aphorism 6 teaches that with every patient, you and me have to become an observer first. Though maybe we are very good physicians, we might be knowing so much, but then immediately with the new patient, let us be a child like human being and just be observer without having any decisions in advance in the mind about that patient. Unprejudiced observer. Similarly, here again, we are to be an observer. So this aphorism is in respect of the drug proving. The aphorism 6 is in respect of knowing the patient. This is regarding knowing and doing the drug proving. You can just keep this two aphorisms as a simile. One is 6 is for understanding patient, 21 is for understanding the proving. Why? What is the purpose? The purpose is to learn. What? In order to learn what the disease producing power and at the same time what disease curing power each individual medicine possesses. So disease producing power is disease curing power. We in the aphorism 6 we were learning in a patient by our senses how to understand the derangement of the vital force. Here again, we are to see that a medicine which is itself a power, a disease producing power, again we have learnt already that it is also going to produce an alteration by deranging the vital force. So that is the power which has got a capacity to produce disease. And at the same time, it is not just disease producing power, but at the same time, it is disease curing power of that drug. What aconite can produce in a healthy human being is actually aconite can cure. There is one article in 1806 which is not available in the lesser writings of the Hahnemann. That is, what are medicines, what are poisons? Something like this title. I think if you try to search in the Google, you will get it. This is what we should really read this article to understand about the disease producing power is at the same time disease curing power. This is what we need to learn. How? Again, this is the third aphorism. If you go immediately on the top, which starts with now. It was there earlier in aphorism number 7. Then it came in aphorism number 17. Now we again see the same word now in 21. So what is he saying? He's connecting the working of the conceptual understanding of knowing the drug, proving the drug with the aphorism 20. Understood. He said in 19 aphorism. And then in 20 he says, this is spirit-like power to alter man's state of health, which lies hidden in the inner nature of the medicines, can never be discovered by us by a mere effort of reasoning. This is not possible just by mere discussion and talks. It is only by experience of the phenomena it displays, and we are able to observe it with the senses. Now, when you understood this, the proving is necessary. And at the same time in 20, he says, and there is no other way you have to prove. If you understood this now, as it is undeniable that the curative principle in medicine is not in itself perceptible, whatever is curative principle means that power, that peculiar signs and symptoms in the medicine is not really perceptible. You cannot know by just by seeing it. It is not by itself that you are going to know that this drug is for this purpose. Suppose if I do not know some drug, if I do not know sulfuric acid, I cannot prescribe. Maybe patient is there. If I do not know platina, maybe patient is coming and going away. I may be giving him something else, but then I am not knowing platina. So I cannot prescribe the platina to the platina patient because I do not know platina. Now, as it is undeniable that the curative principle in medicine is not in itself perceptible. It is not a default mechanism. It cannot happen by itself. And as in pure experiments with medicines conducted by the most accurate observers, I told you, remember Aphorism 6. And as in pure experiments with medicines conducted by the most accurate observers, when he says pure experiments, he meant that you have not manipulated anything in the natural medicine. At the same time, you are trying them on, you are testing them on healthy human beings. This is the criteria of pure experiments here. In pure experiments with medicines conducted by not accurate observer, not more accurate observer. It is in superlative degree, most accurate observer. I have to become the most accurate observers, 100% accurate. No fallacy. Nothing can be observed that can constitute them medicines or remedies except, you see, Aphorism 6. Nothing to be noted except, same he says, nothing to be observed that can constitute them medicines or remedies except that power of causing distinct alterations in the state of health of the human body. As in Aphorism 6, we are to examine the patient and observe nothing except the changes from the state of health to the disease. Here also, we have not to observe anything else to call them as medicines or remedies. We are to become only an observer and check what exactly this medicine is doing with the healthy human being. What exactly it is doing. That is what I have to note down. So, I am to note down nothing except power of causing distinct alterations. Distinct. What do you mean by distinct? Distinct means an exclusive. What exclusive changes this medicine is doing? We are to note down those distinct alterations in the state of health of human body. See, it is just like a little bit of Aphorism 3 when he says you are to know the disease, that is to say in every individual case of disease. Similarly, he says you are to note down what kind of distinct changes it is doing in the state of health of the human body and particularly in that of healthy individual. That is in particular we need to know that healthy human being has got something very specific we need to know to see the changes. And of exciting in him various definite morbid symptoms. What you are to note down all those distinct alterations, and you are to note down all those changes it is able to, this medicine is able to excite in that healthy human being. And not that one, we have to note down various definite morbid symptoms. Like, for example, we know that Pulsatilla is a medicine for fever. Pulsatilla can be the medicine for depression. Pulsatilla can be the medicine for acidity. Pulsatilla can be medicine for n number of diseases, because it is producing so many of various alterations, various morbid morbid symptoms. So here you are almost half of the aphorism you are able to cover up. That ultimate concept he is giving, that in the drug proving, in the testing of the drug, you do not expect like this, that you sit before the plant and meditate and plant will tell you everything. We cannot come to know the power of the medicine like this. Why I said so? Because in the earlier ancient literature, such kind of examples are quoted. But then, if we simply remain a very, very simple human being and talk about it, then the possibility is that no such kind of happenings can occur, that plant is going to teach me that I am for this, give this medicine, this, give this plant for this disease. This is not possible. Then what to do? You have to test. Then in testing, what is the most important thing you are to take care? That you are not to be a physician and immediately conclude this plant is for this disease and this plant will cure this disease. So you should not conclude it as a physician. You stop here, be unprejudiced, be an observer, and just simply note. You are to only note nothing except what kind of changes it is producing in a health of the human being. And just be careful. It is particularly we wish to know in a healthy human being that what kind of various morbid symptoms it is producing. You please note down this. This is the most important conceptual part. So far we come to know three things. One, you can know about the drug by proving this on healthy human beings. You cannot know the power of the medicine just by mere reasoning and talks. Third, when you just want to go ahead with this kind of working to know about the power of medicine, then be an observer to observe the various morbid features, distinct features it is going to show in the economy of the healthy human being, in the organism of healthy human being. Three things we are able to come out with the conceptual understanding about the obtaining knowledge of medicine. Then what else? So, it follows that when medicines act as remedies, they can only bring their curative property into play by means of this, their power of altering man's state of health by the production of peculiar symptoms, and that therefore we have only to rely on the morbid phenomena which the medicine produce in the healthy body as a sole possible revelation of their indwelling curative power in order to learn what disease producing power and at the same time what disease curative power each individual medicine possesses. Now, before going into the explanation of this, let us know exactly that what do you think? What is the understanding of these three words? What do you mean by drug? What do you mean by medicine? And what do you mean by remedy? When we know this much, that this medicine, this some substance, this is a substance which has a capacity to alter our health. But exactly what it can alter, we are not knowing them exactly. That is called drug. A substance which has a capacity to alter our health. Medicines means when we know exactly what kind of alterations this drug can do, exactly we are knowing all those alterations it can make. And when this medicine about which we know its alteration capacity, when we use it to cure and it is able to cure, then it becomes remedy. Remedy means solution. You made a solution, you made a resolution of the disease. Remedy is a resolution. So, for the purpose of making one medicine as a remedy, if I know exactly all those peculiar features it can produce, I will be using it in a diseased individual and it will do nothing, simply removing those features it is able to produce. We know it beforehand because of already we have tested, we are doing all these jobs. So there are four things. One, you are going to know about the drug when you test it on the healthy human being first. You cannot know without testing on healthy human being. Two. Three, be an observer while testing and note all those distinct features. And the fourth one is then only you will be able to apply it as a remedy. These are the four important concepts he is able to make us understand. So just let us read it once again. And it follows that when medicines act as remedies, they can only bring their curative property into play. How any of our the drug, for example, if we give somebody that all the symptoms of Pulsatilla, I am giving Pulsatilla. So what is going to happen? Only the curative, what he says, only the curative property of that medicine will be going to be in play. Hence, medicine becomes remedy. By means of this, their power of altering man's state of health, because we already know that these are the all alterations it can produce in a healthy human being, because it produced peculiar symptoms on which basis we gave it to any sick human being, and that therefore we have only to rely on the morbid phenomena which medicine produce. So ultimately, I am to rely, it is very clear, I am to rely finally if in a given patient These are the peculiar features his natural disease is showing, which is matching with only and only with Pulsatilla. Then I am to rely that this patient can only be cured with Pulsatilla. And there is no use giving him so many of different type of medicines. Even combining it with one or the two drugs are not going to help. So ultimately, how can we rely on the peculiar features? Because it is only producing those peculiar features, hence it becomes a remedy. This medicine becomes a remedy because the peculiar feature it has produced in the healthy human being, and when we see all those peculiar features in a naturally sick human being, and on prescribing this medicine having the similar kind of peculiar features, it is going to simply remove them. See, one very important thing I made you understand about the sensitivity with the example of consciousness. In my previous lecture, I told you, I explained you a word Vedna. What is that Vedna? Vedna means when it makes you sensitive. So, a medicine, indicated medicine, how it is indicated? Because it is matching with the peculiar features as produced in the proving and now available in a sick human being. So, when somebody is sick, that human being who is sick, he is in a very peculiar manner, sensitive in a very, very peculiar manner, in the sense that vital force has managed the whole show in such a way that in a very particular situations, in a particular areas of the body, in particular areas of the organism, this human being is sensitive. If somebody is suffering with diarrhea, so with the diarrhea, he is weeping. Now, this man is sensitive in the mind as well as in the GIT. Two areas are sensitive. Not really that all his muscular system, heart system, respiratory system, everything is sensitive. Relatively, this mind and GIT is extremely sensitive. When you give a medicine, say Pulsatilla, it is it is going to be active. Pulsatilla is going to be active to those parts which are able to really sense it, because GIT and mind are extremely sensitive. And my medicine, which is in such a very, very minute dose, because of that extreme sensitivity, this vital force is going to align with the medicine in such a way that this medicine is going to connect with mind and GIT, not with every part. Pulsatilla is producing so many symptoms. If this arrangement is not there, then what should happen? Mind and GIT should become all right, and rest of the part which are lesser, relatively lesser sensitive, they should become sick with the medicine. But it does not happen so. Because that is the reason you reduce the dose, you increase the potency. Reason being because of that sensitivity. Only this sensitivity is aligning with the medicine. It is exactly like magnet. You put some of the iron objects around that magnet. It is only that range of the magnet electromagnetic field. If any iron piece coming within that range will be pulled by the magnet. Any of the uh, object of the iron which is away the magnetic field, it will not be attracted. Similarly, our each potency has got a electromagnetic field. It has its field, potential field. And when you give Pulsatilla 200, in this example I told you, the one who is suffering with diarrhea and weeping, Pulsatilla is now going to act only on the mind and GIT because the sensitivity of the medicine is now matching with the sensitivity of those parts only. It is coming in that field of the medicine, potential field of that medicine. And rest of the body parts, like iron piece away the electromagnetic field, these rest of the parts of the body, they are away the potential field of the power of medicine. So it is such a good arrangement that in any case, it is not going to produce any kind of harm at all. And whatever is there, those sensitive part, they are going to be all right. So don't you think this such a very nice arrangement? And don't you think it is scientific? What more scientific than this? But then the conceptual understanding is that I have to be an most accurate observer, without which it is not possible. So let us just check up if anything is left. We just read the whole aphorism again, and you also read. And if you find still something is not clear in this aphorism, why don't you write me here? Now, as it is undeniable that curative principle in medicine is not in itself perceptible. You cannot deny this. It is undeniable. Some impossibility that plant is not going to tell me I am of this help. And as in pure experiments with medicines conducted by most accurate observers, nothing can be observed that can constitute them medicines or remedies except that power of causing distinct alterations in the state of health of the human body, and particularly in that of healthy individual, and of exciting in him various definite morbid symptoms. Various definite morbid symptoms. When we say, we just want to say definite. What do you mean by definite? That this morbid symptom is produced by pulsatilla only. Definitely produced by the medicine. When you go and study whole research methodology and all the research aspects, the most important thing is on which they focus that really the medicine is doing this. If a patient is suffering with cancer, cured with homeopathic medicine, the question raised by all these scientia is how to know that your drug has done it. Means definitely your medicine did it. Here he says definitely you have to be definite that this morbidity, this morbid symptom is exclusively by medicine, not by any environment, not because of your day-to-day issues of the emotional problems in the workplace or the home. It is not due to any kind of diet. It is not due to you interacted with some other kind of drug accidentally or by chance. You are to be very sure that is only possible to know by a most accurate observer that whether this is a definitely produced symptom by this particular medicine which is being tested. So that can constitute them medicines or remedies except that power of causing distinct alteration in the state of health of the human body, and particularly in that of the healthy individual, and of exciting in him various definite morbid symptoms. So it follows, once you know this about one drug, that it is definitely producing this, then what situation is going to follow? What phenomena is going to be followed? It follows that when medicines act as remedies, when this known medicine, this is called known medicine, this known medicine, when given in a similar natural disease, becomes a remedy. When this medicine act as remedies, they can only bring their curative property into play by means of this, their power of altering man's state. How it can really play its curative power? Only by knowing their power of altering man's state of health by the production of peculiar symptoms. And that therefore we ultimately, when this is followed, what we learn, therefore we have only to rely on the morbid phenomena which the medicines produce in the healthy body as a sole, as the sole possible revelation of their indwelling curative power. So it is nothing but, it is whatever the morbid phenomena this drug has produced in the healthy human being, which is now, it is like a it is like a coach phenomena which is there in the microbiology, that a medicine which is producing a peculiar kind of uh, disease altering phenomena, when given to a patient having similar kind of natural disease phenomena, and when it goes away, then you are to believe solely that we are to trust these definite symptoms produced, this phenomena produced by the drug in a healthy human being, that this is the sole possible revelation of their indwelling curative power. So, what we read in the Mathematica Pura regarding Pulsatilla, Thuja, etc., and all those chronic disease Mathematica, and all those very, very important further Mathematica, herring guiding symptom, and all, they all are noting down all those soul phenomena, all those soul symptoms, which are nothing but the revelation, it is nothing but the discovery of that particular drug, that it can only produce these peculiar symptoms, and it is nothing but indwelling, which is residing, which lives inside this medicine. It was not really perceptible without doing this activity of proving. Indwelling curative power. In order to learn, and this is the only order to learn, that the disease producing power is the disease curing. So once we are able to understand this, when we are going to go in the practical part, we will be keeping these three aphorisms in the mind, the concept, and out of this concept we will draw a methodology. What we are doing in these aphorisms, we are trying to learn all those concepts of knowing the all symptoms of the patient. We are knowing what is the basic principles of knowing a drug. Once we know these basic principles in this up to 70 aphorisms, we will be knowing the basic principles. And on those basic principles, we will be defining a complete way of working that is called working methodology. So, on those very conceptual understanding of the case taking, blueprint of case taking aphorism number 5, 6, 7, 8, we will be drawing the whole methodology of case perceiving, case taking. On the see, those 4 aphorisms are guiding us to write down all those so many aphorisms from 82 to 104. Because in that we are writing the what is that practical part is the methodology, how to do it. And similarly, after this 3 aphorism, which is giving us the concept, the basic, deep lying principles of drug proving, we are writing so many aphorisms from 105 to 145. Some you can say some 40 aphorisms, 41 aphorisms. What is the difference? Those 41 aphorisms are nothing but the methodology of doing something whose basic concept, the deep lying principles we are reading here. I hope it is quite clear to everyone. Could you please write me that it is really clear to everyone, or still you need certain more explanations about it? Waiting for your response. And in the meanwhile, I just see if Appendix is saying something regarding this aphorism. Yes, 22 says something. So, does it contain any footnote? 21 does not contain any footnote. Okay, fine. So, 21 is nothing here regarding the 21. So, nothing is there in the appendix regarding this. And if we see table of contents, the table of contents says the morbid symptoms that medicines produce in healthy individuals are the only thing wherefrom we can learn their disease curing power. This we have very elaborately understood. And in the appendix, we do not find anything much about it. Only thing is that already to aphorism 20, he explained that this 20 aphorism is something, means already from aphorism 20 to 24, which includes 21, are nothing but the expansion of 16 to 18 aphorisms of first edition. So in the first edition somewhere, this 21 was there somewhere between 16 to 18. This much we come to know about this from the appendix. And we are not going into too much of detail of the appendix, just to understand where it is and what it is. So this is what the very simple learning and understanding of the aphorism 21, and we are really able to complete the conceptual part of knowing about the power of drug. Now, so many things I have not just revealed with you because it might cause some kind of confusions. We will be doing it later, but then we have again once more completed another portion of the journey, another portion of the voyage of the Ognon, and we are going to start another portion of the journey from Aphorism 22 onwards. What it is going to be, just guess. We did as per the blueprint of that is Aphorism 3. We did uh, knowledge of disease, the conceptual part, that is regarding the case taking, knowledge of disease, how to really do a case taking, a blueprint of case taking we did, and how to understand the dynamism regarding health, disease, cure. We learned the dynamism, and then here we learned the concept of doing drug proving, to know about the drug, to make one drug as a medicine, to make the medicine a known medicine. It is as good as, see, for example, if you really want that this is my a sum of money, say some 1 lakh rupees you want to deposit in your account, and you are not in a position to go for your engagement. You are in patient with the you are in clinic with the patients, and you are supposed to immediately deposit 1 lakh rupees in your account. Whom will you give it? Are you going to give it to somebody passerby in the road, unknown fellow, or are you going to give it to somebody who is a confidential person to you, in which you confide with? You may confide in the person who is working in your office, or some of the friend of yours, family members. You can only confide with this because you know them. Now, as a doctor, you want to treat somebody, you want to cure somebody who is sick, and you want to give him a medicine. What medicine will you give? Of course, a known medicine. How to know the medicine? This is the way we discussed. Now, we understood knowledge of disease, we understood knowledge of power of medicine. Then what comes next? The next comes regarding the principle. In which principle we are going to apply this attained knowledge of the medicine, medicinal power, on the knowledge of the disease. What is the law? Which law? The beauty of the coming aphorisms will be such that Hahnemann is not certainly declaring, he is just telling you step by step in a very, very unprejudiced manner. There are how many ways, which way is doing what, like this. So, in the next coming days onwards, we will be discussing about the applicable law, that is, law of therapeutics, principles of therapeutics. You see, he is very consistent that in these number of aphorisms, I will be giving you all the basic underlying principles on which basis the rest of the 71 onwards, the practical part of the Agrawal, that is the methodology part, will be depending on. So from tomorrow onwards, we shall be discussing, learning, understanding regarding the law of therapeutics. What are those laws? Then what is the basis of that law? Every law has some basis. So the therapeutic law has a basis in nature's law. He will be explaining you nature's law. He will be giving you certain examples of the nature's law. And like this. So We will be continuing with all those laws and their understanding in which everything will come. You might be thinking that it is all we studied in first year, second year like this. Yes, true. But in those days, we were not so matured and we were only having one resolution in the mind, one sankalpa in the mind that I am to pass this subject with this 50% marks or above. But now, as a doctor, we are to learn this portion, how this portion is going to help me to cure a patient. This is the purpose. So, this is the sankalpa, this is the resolution we are having, and hence we are sitting together and learning that all these aphorisms are directly related to the bedside. Without having this depth of the underlying principles, we cannot understand the practical part at all. And when we are unable to understand the practical part, means the methodology of each activity, how can we practice? It is such a simple understanding. So I am sure that every one of you understood my point. Thank you very much that everyone replied me that they understood so far whatever we discussed about the conceptual part, the principles of knowing the power of medicines. And then tomorrow, as I told you, we will be discussing about the therapeutic law 22 onwards. So, any questions you write me in the comment section or in the WhatsApp group, and we will be continuing our class from tomorrow onwards again, same time 5 to 6. So we catch up tomorrow, and thank you very much everyone for today. We are able to finish so many of the portions for which initially we thought how it is going to be, but then it is so far so good. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.